afternoon, people. How are you all? I'm back again with season 4, fifth episode of my talk show. You all know this show, it's called Mona Lisa's Talk Show. And today I have another interesting guest with me whom we have invited for many special reasons because we are going to talk about spiritual healing and many other modalities that she uses. So let me quickly invite and welcome Dr. Lakshmi Ajay. Welcome to my talk show, Dr. Lakshmi.
Thank you so much, Monalisa ma'am, for inviting me as part of the show. It gives me immense pleasure and absolute gratitude to be part of this conversation. And I'm sure that at the end of the show, we are all going to take back something that we can all learn and imbibe from. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine, and I was really looking forward to have this conversation with you because your book caught my interest mainly. And then I went through your profile, and it was like, wow, where were you? I need to interview this woman because she is a power woman.
Thank you. Thank you. It feels truly grateful that, in this journey, I have always believed that you should remain a student for life. And when you have that kind of attitude towards life, to be open to learning, I think universe listens and has this very unique way of reaching out to the desired sources and coming back and gifting you whatever you seek or you desire. So that is how my profile, I probably feel, has reached your attention. And from here, it's going to touch a million more lives, and that feels like an absolute honor to me. Thank you.
You're welcome, and let's start with the conversation. It's going to be free flowing and candid. So,
Sure.
I really want to ask you this that while going through your profile, I noticed that you have been a holistic spiritual healer for almost like 13 years now. So,
Yes.
I really would like you to explain that what does it actually mean and what kind of modalities you use for this kind of healing.
Sure. So, let me give you a little background as to why I chose holistic spiritual healing, because that is important for people to know. In my journey, I come from a space of personal experience where I had undergone several trauma, and this has been part of, a part of it has been given in this book called The Pages of Power. I am going to be sending you this book also along with my other book for you to read because there are 14 other authors who have collaborated here, and every page, as the name suggests, is a page of power because it shows your true resilience and strength. So here in this book, I have mentioned my story and a background which says that I was suffering from multiple autoimmune conditions like vitiligo, which is white patches on the skin, fibromyalgia, which is chronic body ache, urinary tract infection, which was so severe that it felt like somebody is pouring acid over my reproductive, the genitals. Then I was also suffering from osteoarthritis. I was suffering from conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, low blood pressure, um, hyperacidity, and spondylolisthesis grade 1. And these are just to name a few. And because of this, I experienced extreme depression, anxiety, and I was almost suicidal on a couple of occasions also. So in this time span, I felt that it was essential for me to either take, there were only two choices left, either to end my life or to take something that will help me get away from this. And that is when I was fortunate enough to be shown a different path. I came across the books by Dr. Brian Weiss in the year 2010-11, and I read all of them, and I desired that someday I should probably take a session from him. I have not been able to take a session from him, but fortunately, by the grace of God, I personally am a past life regression therapist today, having conducted 600 plus sessions in the last 5 6 years. Apart from this, I've also done my Reiki Grandmaster. I have learned neuro linguistic programming. I have done sound healing, tarot card reading, angel healing therapies, crystal healing, dowsing, and these are just to name a few. Apart from this, I've also done Vastu, numerology, and I'm still learning. I'm planning to explore the aspects of astrology as well. And I feel that when I combine these modalities, apart from this, the most important thing in all of this was I combined Reiki with meditation and deeper intuitive powers. And of course, as a past life regression therapist and a naturopath, like I've also done naturopathy under the same mentor who taught me past life regression, Dr. Piyush Saxena. And I have had mentors like Dr. Piyush Saxena, Dr. Yogendra Singh Rathor, who have helped me explore different areas of my life and helped me overcome my struggles. To lead a medicine free life today, I have reversed all my conditions. Every single condition like osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia, hyperacidity, weight gain. I was like 85 kgs heavy, and today I'm like 59, 60, between that.
Wow.
So from there to this, the journey has been remarkable. There were white spots on my face, and I was able to remove them. Of course, it did take time. Patience and perseverance is the key. So when this happened, I realized that because it has happened to me and it has been possible for me to reverse these conditions, it is also possible for others who may be experiencing something similar to be able to overcome out of this. And definitely, there has to be a medium or a channel, and somebody has to be there to tell them that this is possible. Now, not just in my area of health, but I was also able to reverse and improve conditions like my relationships, which was so devastating that I was almost on the verge of getting a separation from my husband, and not sharing a very good relationship with my in-laws side and so on. And today the bonding with them is so beautiful that they have sidelined their own son and they call me their daughter. And my in-laws are like, they literally pamper me whenever I go to them. They serve me, they take care of me like my daughter. They call up all of their relatives and they say that we have got the daughter that we never had in our lives. So from there to this journey has been remarkable. It has taught me a lot. It has also taught me that it is important to never judge, because for every story there is your version, my version, their version, and the truth. So when you understand somebody from somebody else's perspective and we look at it from a outsider's point of view, being very neutral, just an observer, you learn a lot. And in this learning, which I have learned over 13 long years, I have compiled and created a program in which people can alter their lives and see changes happening within 3 to 4 months. So
Okay.
that is how I have started this journey, and it's been very satisfying for me. Yeah.
How wonderful. And I really want to know one more thing, that you are treating most of your, like, how, what do you call them? You call them patients, or you call them what?
My patrons, I also call them, yeah, mostly my patrons. There are some students who also wish to learn from me. So they learn different modalities like Reiki, angel healing, neurolinguistic programming, and the like. So they are my students. But otherwise, I call them my patrons. Yeah.
Okay. So mostly you go for medicine free healing that you provide. And is it only for some bodily ailments, or it's also for like depression, anxiety, the mental
Yes.
health also?
So what happens is about 90% of all the diseases that we suffer from, including major diseases like hyperacidity, blood pressure, diabetes, and even cancer, is a result of not just your physical ailment, but it is a result of your emotional and mental trauma. And they say, when you are about to experience a major outbreak or disease in your life, that thing will reflect in your aura, which is your electromagnetic field, at least 6 months before it starts impacting your physical body. And it's a proven
Okay.
science. And also, we must remember that 70% of the human body is comprised of water. And water has emotions, water has retention and memory power, which was proven by Japanese scientist Dr. Masaru Emoto through his experiments with water molecules. And wherein, when beautiful words or good words were given, they formed crystalline, very varied, vivid, beautiful patterns. On the other hand, when not so good words or unkind words like devil or anger or disgust or hate were given, they formed some distorted, ugly kind of patterns. And
Okay.
the ugly patterns, once again, when they were replaced with good emotions like beautiful, angel, kindness, love, etc., they again changed themselves to become beautiful patterns again. So that is the magic that we all have within us. So it is extremely important of how not just we speak, but also how we think. Like, if I have to give you this example of, since you asked me about the emotional and mental level, for example, if a mother is suffering from extreme fever after she sent her child to school and her husband to work, she's experiencing 102 fever, she's not feeling well, so she leaves everything and she just goes to the bed and sleeps. Suddenly, she is awakened at around 12:31, and she realizes that my child is going to be back home by 1:30 or 2. So suddenly she realizes I've not done any cooking, I've not done any preparation. She quickly goes to the kitchen and makes a khichdi. So as soon as the child comes home, she feeds the child the khichdi, and then that is when she feels satisfied. So a person from morning 7 until 12 or 12:30, the one who was suffering from 102 fever, from 12 until 2, she forgot about the existence of a disease like that. So that is the power of our mind. So if we are able to
Right.
alter our thoughts, alter our minds, and alter our emotions, because many a times what happens is our mind controls us. The moment our trick here is to be able to manage and manipulate the mind in such a way so that it starts listening to us. And the moment we are able to learn that secret and apply it in our lives, our life becomes absolutely smooth and free flowing, and all your conditions, diseases begins to not just reverse, but you are able to fully recover out of it. A disease as grave as urinary tract infection and vitiligo, which is white patches on the skin, many people say it's genetic, and once it comes it never goes. All the allopathic doctors, I have huge respect for all the doctors in their profession. Please do not take me otherwise, but they never give you this guarantee that this can never recur again. They say that if you take stress again, then it may so happen that you will get it again. So the cure that happens with them is just temporary. They cannot give a permanent solution. But the permanent solution lies in your emotions and mental state, how strong you are. And through the practices that I personally follow, I encourage people to alter their mindset through a conscious mindset reprogramming. And that is what is going to help people alter their lives completely and start seeing a definite positive change in their life. Yeah.
So, is it possible for any layman to start with these kind of healing procedures? Like, if they want to learn, suppose if I wish to learn Reiki or maybe any kind of healing, is it possible for me to do it at this point of my life? Because I'm like in my 40s, I'm already, like into so many things. So, I really wonder, is it possible?
So I started my journey at the age of 30. Well, the age is just a number. Okay, so of course it was 25 when I learned my Reiki level 1, and at that time it was only with the intention of healing myself and healing my daughter, because my daughter was just an infant and she was a 8-month baby. I had a cesarean section and I was already having a broken back, so I used to experience severe back cramps and aches very constantly, very often, and it almost used to occur every day. So it started from with the intention of healing myself and healing my daughter, because she was a weak child, a 8-month baby with a lot of conditions which were not favorable, like her abdominal growth was not normal, and she was also experiencing irritable bowel syndrome from me, because I was experiencing it when I was pregnant with her. She got it at the time, like she was born with that disease. So later on, we rectified it with the help of healing, but Reiki did help me a lot. And that is when I realized that everything around us is energy. This is what we have been taught as part of physics when we were in school, class 7, 6, 7, 8. And we've all learned that energy is existing everywhere. It can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can only be converted from one form to the other. So when you utilize that energy appropriately and in the most ideal manner to act well for you, it will start acting for you. What is important here is to understand that there is no age limit for this. There is no gender, class, creed, background, social status, or anything of this sort to learn any kind of healing modality. Few things that are important here is, one is the intention, second is the faith, third is to identify whether you really want to do it, because many a times people learn such modalities and they say that yaar ye to maine aise hi just for the sake of getting a certification I did it, but I'm not really keen on this. So don't just do it for exploring. of course you can explore, but be open to receiving that energy that's being gifted to you, because not everybody is blessed or grateful enough to receive those energies in their lives, and when it is coming to you, it is definitely a blessing. So anybody can learn it. Monalisa ma'am, I must say that I come from a background where I was a science student until my class 12, aspiring to be a medical doctor. I later on did my hotel
Okay.
management, after which I did my BA in arts, after which I did my MA in arts and I did my B.Ed. And in my B.Ed, I was a university topper. After this, I started learning all these healing modalities. I started with Reiki, and then I did tarot and angel healing therapy and past life regression, naturopathy, neuro-linguistic programming, not astro, numerology, vastu, and crystal healing, dowsing, rudraksha therapies, flower healing therapy, Indian flower remedies, and the list is endless. I'm still learning. And what I believe is that I also got the blessing to become an author in the meantime. Like I have authored several books and several anthologies, three books of my own and several anthologies. I've even contributed to Chrysanthemum Chronicles on a couple of anthologies. And it feels like, what I have done or what I have learned is only a fistful. And what is
Hmm.
yet to be learned and explored, because that is the potential of the human mind. They are so vast that we sometimes fail to realize our own potentials. And yes, it is possible for anybody to learn it, to not just apply it in their own lives, but also help the lives of others around us. So initially, the intention for me to learn these modalities were to obviously apply it for myself and my family, but today I have been chosen as a medium or a channel to reach out to others, because I know that this is my purpose. This is what gives me utmost satisfaction. And when I see that people come back with positive results, people who have not been able to sell off their flats for 8 long years were able to sell it in 2 months flat. People who are not able to conceive are able to conceive. People who are not able to overcome their deepest trauma and fear of losing or grief of losing their near and dear ones were able to come out of it. And so much more. The examples are just a few. I feel utmost gratitude that I was in some way responsible for the happiness that is now experienced in their lives. So this is how I see it. I think anybody can do it with the right intention, and of course with the true complete faith. Like they say, what is important is utmost complete surrender, which is called Sarvasva Sharnagati. Sharnagati is when you just surrender, but Sarvasva is when you surrender your everything. Sarvasva is everything that you possess is completely surrendered to the feet of the Lord. Which is why I also say one more thing whenever I offer my morning gratitude and prayers. I always tell the Lord that in any past, present, or future timeline, space, and dimension where your existence is not there, I don't want to exist.
Right. Now,
So, yeah, sorry. So when the Lord is witness to everything, we can never go wrong. That is the message here. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
wonderful. Okay, so now you are saying that everything is energy around us, even our body, our mind, everything is working in a pattern. So
Correct.
I want to know that if we are also energy and this is just the physical body and we transcendence to to another universe or a world or whatever is beyond. So I want to know what is your outlook on death?
So yes, there are existence of parallel universes. The theory of multiverse is being explored by astrophysicists now. Even the theory of black holes, because imagine this scenario: we are all inhabitants of planet Earth. Now, Earth is one of the smallest planet in our solar system, which has got eight other planets, and of course, the sun. And then, similar to our solar system, we have several other solar systems within
Hmm.
our galaxy, which is the Milky Way galaxy. And now, similar to the
Right.
Milky Way galaxies, there are several other galaxies existent only in this universe. And
Hmm.
now, astrophysicists are even claiming the existence of parallel universes, which is multiverse. So, imagine
Hmm.
the vastness of the cosmos.
Right.
And in comparison, what is our existence? We are negligible. And yet, we are so unique that in the 1.2 billion years of human existence, there has never been, there is not, and there will never be a pattern or a DNA structure which is as unique as us. So imagine
Okay.
the complexity of creation and the uniqueness of the gift that has been given to us. So obviously there are possibilities. We cannot totally rule out the possibilities of existing lives on other planets or multiverse or cosmos or galaxies. I definitely do believe, because there have been instances where we have conducted past life regression sessions on clients and patrons, and they have had experiences on other universes. And when they come here, like some people, you will find that they are extraordinarily brilliant, and they just simply
Hmm.
cannot manage and cope up with the energy or the intelligence levels of regular human beings. Uh, and one may say that they are born with extremely high IQ, or they are like probably not the regular normal people, but actually
Hmm.
there is a possibility that they have come from other planets, and they are here to on a mission or to learn certain things. Then of course the possibility of where people have given exact experiences of people from other countries or cities, their family background area, the structure of their house and how it was, and so many details that may seem uncanny. Okay,
Okay.
so when people go there and refer to it, the existence of such experiences have been proven as well, which automatically goes on to show that life is a continuous cycle, and we are all here to learn. And as human beings, what is important for us is we have been given extreme potentials. We have been sent here not to gossip about others, not to be bothered about what others are doing or how others are doing it, but focus on what you can do and how you can contribute to whatever your potentials are towards the betterment of the society, because that is the purpose with which we have been sent here. It could be through words, it could be through your actions, it could be through your deeds, which is why I also have my catch line, which I keep it as my WhatsApp profile description, which I say that leave a mark through your actions, deeds and words, and that's all you can do. And when I'm speaking about leaving a mark, leaving a positive, very impactful mark through your action, deeds and words, and that is extremely important, because my grandmother as a child, she always used to say, anything that's thrown, any item, physical item that is thrown can always be picked up, but once you throw your words, it's very difficult to take them back. So be very mindful of the words that you use in your everyday conversations. And I think
Hmm.
I've been grateful enough to be brought up in a family and background that gave me such rich cultural values and virtues to imbibe and to follow up on, failing which I couldn't be who I am today. So I truly feel fortunate and grateful to have been exposed to so many wonderful people, even you. Like, I always say one more thing: I am because you are. Without your thought coming in of wanting to interview me today, this situation or this moment would not have been created. So for that, I will always remain grateful for every opportunity that comes my way. So this is how it is.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so we can say see it as that everything is connected with one thing or the other, and there's a pattern that is going on in the universe, and the universe knows it everything. You know where to get one connected, the path and
Yes.
everything. I also believe
Yes.
in the. I mean, I would say that I believe in universe. I believe that there's some sort of guidance that comes whenever we are in the dark, and I have this deja vu kind of feeling also. I want to know, do you believe in deja vu and why does it
Of
happen?
course. Yes, deja vus can probably be because of a few reasons. One is you may have experienced it in a parallel life, in a past life, or it is also possible that you're experiencing it in a parallel universe. Okay, that's the second
Hmm.
possibility. The third is you have definitely, whatever you visualize, all these creations that has happened. Now, for example, the computer or the laptop, where virtual communication has become a very easy thing. I remember seeing a movie a few years or a few decades ago, actually, somewhere in the 80s. And when I saw the movie in the 80s, it was a movie from the 60s or 70s. It was a Tamil movie, I remember, wherein the color movies had just come. Earlier, it was just black and white. So the color movies had just come. So it was more like like the what is the sepia kind of colors, not fully colored, but with that yellowish tinge and some colors added here and there. So that was the kind of thing. And in one of those Tamil movies, I had seen that there is a suitcase which a person is carrying. The person was a king, and he is opening the suitcase, and there is a screen in which he sees his beloved queen, or the person whom he desires to marry on the screen of that suitcase. So maybe in the 60s and 70s, somebody had already possibly foreseen a possible creation of a gadget like so. So today, if you imagine or visualize a laptop or a computer, it is almost like the shape of a suitcase, rectangular. And
Yeah.
when you open it, like you below you have the keyboard and above you have the screen. So it's very similar, right?
Right.
So, which means that the idea has already been stemmed from some place. Today, when we claim of, the Wright brothers inventing the aeroplane, the existence of Pushpak Vimana has been already shown in the
Already there.
Ramayana. And when we
Right.
call of nuclear weapons discovery today by the US and the European countries, we can say what is Brahmastra, or what are those astras which used to create huge destructions or devastations. So they are nothing but nuclear weapons. That is how rich and extreme and intense our knowledge has been. So, like they say, all that you seek is already within you. Rumi says this, and it's one of my favorite quotes. Rumi, the 13th century Persian poet, happens to be
Yeah.
one of my favorites. I'm sure you would know this, but this is for any of the viewers who may not know. Rumi says, all that you seek is already within you. And we have been given with such intense potentials that we sometimes fail to discover and actually know our own worth. And in this journey, I have wasted several decades of my life, maybe a decade. Out of the 4 decades, I may have at least wasted 1.5 decades of my life doing nothing major, not achieving anything major. But today, when I'm aware of what my potentials is as a gift given from the universe above me, some higher divine power, it may be God, it may be Allah, Jesus, Vishnu, Krishna, Shiva, anybody, or even your gurus like Sai Baba, or Ramakrishna Paramhansa or Swami Samarth, absolutely anybody, Guru Nanak, Mahavatar Babaji, there are so many. So
Yeah.
anybody, any divine power who you think can guide you on this path, simply surrender to them. Believe in your own power and potentials. Know that you are blessed. You are sent here because you have been blessed by the divine energy, and you have been given that talent to learn, grow, and help others. That is your purpose. And once you understand that, you can see a changed and transformed self. It's not an easy task, because coming to the realization itself is going to take a few years. But that consistent efforts, like the if you've seen the stock market, I would say that once upon a time, when Reliance had just launched Jio, a lot of people brought in their stock when it was open to the NSE and BSE stock exchange, and people did not go and monitor the changes that came in every day, because there were some days when the stocks used to rise really high, and there were times when the stocks used to go really lower than the price that they had purchased it at. And yet people kept on to it, hooked on to the stock, hoping that someday this is going to fetch me returns. And when you look at the returns after, say, 5 years, 10 years, that is when you know how far the stock has progressed from where it started. Our life is also like that.
Right.
You cannot measure it every day and say that, yeah, yesterday I was doing so well, today I'm not feeling so well. So am I not progressing? This is not how you measure your progress. In life, your progress is always measured by a milestone. What have I been able to achieve in the last one year? Has my previous year been more productive, or rather, has this year been more productive than my previous year? And if the answer to that is yes, it means that you are definitely progressing on this path, because learning and healing both are a continuous process. It cannot stop, because once it stops, your life is absolutely like a dead lay vegetable. Otherwise, you kind of come into a vegetative state. There's absolutely no use to your life. This is what I feel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now another interesting thing that I saw in your profile is that you have mentioned that you also deal with occult sciences, I guess.
Yeah.
So when we say the word occult, it gives a certain kind of different thought process, like something mystical or magical or maybe
Yeah.
supernatural also.
Right.
So, in your field, how do you apply occult sciences, and how is it different from the generic, general meaning that we are aware of?
Okay. So occult is something that is unknown, mysterious. Okay. And occult, they say, like, can be both positive and negative.
Okay.
So, whenever we speak of negative occultism, it is more to do like black magic, the smashan, and the tantric practices. Again, let me tell you that tantric practices are not really black magic exclusively. They involve the upasana of Bhairav and Kali Ma, and a lot of people, Kali can be seen as a mother who is extremely forgiving and kind. She can also be called upon for improving the strength and the inner will of a person. And it is the path which you choose in order to seek the strength, or the devotion, or the, what do we say, the guidance of the deity. So you have the Vedic practices on one hand, which calls for chanting and performances of havan and so on and so forth. And there is also, things like meditation, deeper trance, understanding, getting into regression. All of that is also part, like deeper intuition, when you create awareness, when you're able to foresee what is going to happen. Even the deja vu experience that you mentioned, you are able to foresee a certain event, or when something happens to you, you feel that you have already seen or experienced it somewhere. I have had several experiences like that. When I go to a particular place, like, let me be specific. When I go to Uttarakhand, when I go to Shirdi, when I go to anywhere in the Himalayas, like when I went to Kailash, I simply knew that I have been here before. I just knew that this is exactly how it is. Nobody had to guide me the path. It felt like I know this place. It felt like home. And every time I go to Shirdi, people ask me, "How do you know this place so well?" And I feel like, I think I have spent several lifetimes here. So I kind of know every road, every gully. Maybe the changes have come in now, but I still know where to go, what to do, just about everything. It feels like I have been here, I have been a part of this experience. So, all this is possible, but that is only possible when you become connected and aware with your own inner conscious. A
Hmm.
lot of people do general random things, but they don't become aware of what is actually happening to them, right?
Right.
So when you gradually and consciously develop a mindset that allows you to experience the miracles, you start seeing miracles in absolutely everything that's happening in your life. So there is this very small incident that happened recently to me. This is like, just around Christmas. I was on a trip to South India. I hope my husband doesn't see this. Because I have not shared this with him yet. So I was on a small vacation with my in-laws. This part he knows, that I was on a vacation with my in-laws, and my in-laws were there on a vacation themselves. They had got a house on rent and they are staying there for 2 months. So I had visited them with the intention of performing our Kuldevi Puja there. And there, what I did was, being the very adventurous kind, I hired a two-wheeler to go around temple hopping around Tamil Nadu. To the
Okay.
extent that in 3 days, I covered 480 plus kilometers on the two-wheeler.
Okay. My God. Wow.
So that was a kind of adventure. And on the way back, I was supposed to extend the hire of the two-wheeler by one more day. But on the way back, I met with a accident.
Oh, okay.
When I met with this accident, it could have been extremely devastating or extreme to the extent that I could have even lost my life. So what happens is roads in Tamil Nadu are excellent. They are very high quality. But the one disadvantage is they don't have street lamps. Whether it is on highways or even state highways and all, they don't have proper street lighting facility.
Okay.
So it was a dark road, and there was a SUV who was trying to overtake me. So when I just went on the side, uh, the oil spillage of one of the trucks led my two-wheeler to skid, and I fell off.
Okay.
Fortunately, I could have fallen off in and out. I'm looking at it, so I met with an accident. It was a major one. So there was a lot of blood loss, and my I couldn't move
Okay.
my leg. It was huge and swollen, and it was totally bruised. The scooter was on my leg, and I couldn't complete. In fact, even I couldn't even move and wake myself up. There were a few
Hmm.
people who came in to help me. So fortunately, now that was the bad part of it. Now, if I look at the good part or the good events that occurred, so only bad part was I met with an accident. Now, if
Hmm.
I'm going to count my blessings because of this accident, it was like I fell in a place where there was human inhabitation.
Right.
Second is I was within 2 to 3 minutes of my falling, people came to my rescue.
Hmm.
Third thing is I had fallen on the side and not in the middle of the road because it was a narrow highway, state highway. It was a narrow road and there were trucks and other big vehicles moving around.
Hmm.
So, and in the night, dark light, sometimes trucks and bigger vehicles cannot see. So I
Hmm.
could have met with a major accident. Fourth is there was a very small hutment, and that family, like, there was a widow, there was another lady and her husband. All three of them took care of me that entire night. They took me to a local medical center. The person, bandaged was a pharmaceutical pharmacist to whom they took me. He gave me a
Okay.
tetanus injection, band-aided the whole thing, kind of cleaned up the wound and everything. He gave me first aid, and I was given shelter at this small hutment where the people arranged for a wooden cot because I couldn't sleep on the floor, and they themselves
Ah.
slept on the floor. So
Oh,
courteous,
wow.
and none of them even demanded, even the pharmacist, even this family, they never demanded or expected anything. Everything was done free of cost. And out of gratitude and courtesy, I offered them money and I said that no, I cannot take this service for free. And the next morning, they applied the sacred vibhuti or the sacred ash of Shiva and said that may the Lord be with you, keep you protected. And they did not even have money to recharge their phone. So they gave their
Hmm.
phone number and they requested that I call them. So as soon as I went home, they were so restless that after 2 hours, that lady did a 10 rupee recharge just to
Oh,
check with me if I had reached home.
how amazing.
So
Such kind of people still exist. It's really hard to believe.
yes, and apart from that, I had booked a return train in a two-tier compartment. I changed it to return my flight. So then I got to spend, like, if I would have not met with this accident, I would not have gotten to spend 2 additional days with my in-laws because the flight ticket was not available immediately. So it was available after 2 days. So I got 3 entire days to spend with my in-laws before I came back home also. And I was totally pampered and taken care of and everything. And if I had come by train, I would have had some really tough experiences because the washrooms are at a distance and climbing up and down the seats and all that would have been difficult. I got literally like I had not booked for this, but they gave me a wheelchair booking and they made me sit on the first, the wide leg room row where I had a very comfortable flight back home. So now, if I go on counting the blessings, they are endless. So there are more, but I'm not going to talk about it. So just for one wrong thing that happened there, I have already mentioned at least 20 good things that happened. So this is the kind of miracle you begin to experience. And this is what I say that when you consciously are into the practice of occultism, occult is nothing but becoming aware or exploring the mysteries that can possibly exist around you. Because I remember when I was riding the two-wheeler, I was constantly chanting the name of the Lord, Hanuman Chalisa, and my Shiva. I'm very close to Shiva. So I was chanting the name of the Lord, and I was returning from a Shani temple of the Navagrahas. So and also 2024 is the was the year of Shani. So I felt that Shani Dev was just telling me that all your bad, things, whatever was pending, is now over, and now it is a fresh beginning or a start to your life. All the best. So that was the kind of message I felt, and it feels surreal at times, but the miracles I experience is on an everyday basis. Yes,
Right, absolutely. And I also think that when you listen to the universe, you actually get the answers. You have to be that calm. And
yes,
I'm a layman, nothing compared in front of you, but I only practice one thing, and that has been there with me from the very beginning, and that is gratitude. I always say thank you when I wake up, and even to the smallest things, like if I'm taking bath, I get hot water running from the tap, I say thank you, because I
right,
feel that we are privileged for having these kind of facilities. So that
right.
is what I feel that gives me the calmness, to like because
Uh,
it's a mad world out there. It's a social media pressure, so many things. So you have to find some way to keep yourself calm, and I
uh,
feel so.
Ma'am, one thing which I realized when you mentioned is that I'm nothing in front of you or compared to you. There is no comparison here because it is like comparing a bird with an elephant and an elephant with a fish. It's not possible, right? We are all unique creatures with our own unique propositions, or they say upselling propositions or unique selling propositions. We all have our USPs. And when we are consciously aware, it is possible for you too to discover the potentials and the miracles or the magic, whatever talents that you have within you. And once you are able to discover that, you will realize that everything that starts unfolding is a very natural thing. Like you don't find that okay, acha aise hua. So this is not, while the whole world may look at it as some miraculous event. Like people were actually telling me, how is it even possible that people came to you for help, you were given immediate attention, and nothing happened to the bike also. I was able to drive it all the way 35 kilometers. And one more major miracle was there was no an X-ray was done and there was no fracture also.
Oh, that's really good.
So, despite such a major accident that
Huh.
happened, it was just a minor, it just went away with a very minor pass by thing. So, I feel that, when you're consciously, and gratitude, of course, is
Hmm.
the basics of what everybody should incorporate and practice, particularly for those living in cities, because
Hmm.
people in villages and in the rural areas who are not exposed to social media competition, their life is on an everyday basis, everyday wage. They get 10 rupees today, they eat the food with the 10 rupees that they get, and then they sleep peacefully. They don't
Content
expect
hearts they
anything.
have.
They just have two sets of clothes to change. That's it. They don't even have a proper gas stove. They didn't even have a proper toilet. The hutment that I lived in did not even have an open toilet. It was an open toilet. There was no proper toilet arrangements in that house. So imagine the kind of people that we are and how we are in comparison to them. We are so blessed that we have water, a roof above us, multiple choices of clothes, access to gadgets, and
Absolutely.
the communication, the intelligence, the knowledge, the power, the facilities. All of that is a blessing that comes to us every single day. And I think gratitude, like you said, you are already on that path. Whenever people, my patrons come to me, the very first exercise I tell them is start offering gratitude, even to the smallest of things. Like, do you have a roof under which you live? Have you been able to see the light of the day? Because
Right.
many people don't even wake up from their sleep. You are, one of those blessed humans to be able to wake up and see this new day. And you see that everybody around you, your family is also good and all sound. So that
Exactly.
itself is a blessing. You see that a flower has bloomed in your balcony. That is a blessing. And when such things
Hmm.
keep happening or occurring, begin to see the magic and miracles in every single area or sphere of your life. And that is when your life becomes a very merry kind of life, and you begin to be happy and feel the happiness from within, because happiness cannot be purchased from shops. It is always a choice we make about the things that we already have and are privileged to be blessed with every day. Yeah.
Right. Now, let's meet your author side. I want to know that you have written three books that are your solo books, and then you have
Yes.
several anthologies. So, tell me about your latest book because that is what caught my attention.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
this is
biography
my
book.
first book, and this is my second book co-authored with my daughter, and this is my third book, which is the very recent one from Katuki. It is the biography of a transgender woman from Kerala. Now, this was not a mere coincidence. I
Okay.
think that, it was God's grace that I was meant to meet this person virtually and connect with her over the phone. I met her through a common platform on Facebook. It was a sari lovers group, and she was part of that community. And every time she wears exceptional sari, she has a huge collection. I think even I don't have a collection as huge as her. So she once showed me on her video cam the kind of sari collection that she has. It's amazing. So that is how we connected through the Facebook group. And she was looking for someone to write a story, write her story basically. So when that happened, what happened was there were a lot of people who approached her, like, I'm willing to write your story, I'm willing to write a story. There were multiple people who approached her. And this was, I'm saying, it was in early 2022, where I just had one dream of my life is to become an author. There was absolutely no other intention, or I was not really like empathetic about her life at that time. I'm talking about my sole intention was I want to write a story and it has to be unique, and what can be more unique than this? So I just approached her just like the many others who approached her, but out of all those people she chose me. I think today I see it as a divine intervention. I see
I
it
was
as
just about to say this. I was just about to say this.
yeah, it cannot be anything short of a divine intervention
Yeah.
because when I started speaking to her, so this was sometime in February, she had connected. By March, she had finalized that I'm the one who's going to be writing her story. So we started communicating, I remember around the 14th of March, 2022 is what I'm talking about. So it has taken 2.5 long years. This book was released on the 14th of November, 2024. So yeah, what a coincidence! Oh my God, I can't even realize. The 14th of March we started, and 14th of November I had published this book. It was a Purnima day, and I started speaking to her. When I started early, so initially there was this ice breaking where we got to know each other, our age, and family backgrounds, what are we doing in everyday life, and so on. So once the actual process of writing the story started, something inside me began to shift.
Okay.
And when I started listening to her stories, there are incidents and moments of abuse and sexual trauma, internal organ damage, a lot of things that have been mentioned, which can be really gross, gruel. And one can feel like, how can you write so explicitly about this? And she, over a period of time, she started developing a comfort zone with me, and she started expressing everything. And she mentioned that, Lakshmi, whenever you write this book, I want the world to read exactly what happened, including the sexual abuse, including those moments where people took advantage of me, including the moments when my internal organs were damaged. And at that time, I remember that I had blocked everyone out of my life and I put myself in a cocoon. I today I call it a stage of metamorphosis. I was going through a deeper introspection, a transformation, trying to absorb the information, trying to put it across in a way that it does not come across as being explicitly sexual in nature, but more about what the person had undergone or experienced at the time. It's been several years, of course. All this happened 2 or 2.5 decades ago. It started when she was just a teenager, and today she's in her 40s. So it started like almost 30, 32, 35 years, or around that time, 30 years ago. And from that time until now, all those different trauma, and where, despite all those challenges, where she stands today is remarkable. How can someone be so resilient, so powerful from within, that if you look at the cover page itself, her smile is so beautiful and graceful.
Hmm.
And she has that, it is not an artificial smile. It's a smile that she constantly wears on her face and extremely genuine and heartfelt. She is truly a hero in my eye, and I call her a sister from another mother because she has resonated me at a level where I could feel her, and she felt absolutely, she shed her inhibitions. She became totally vulnerable, and she was ready to share her vulnerability with the world. And she wanted all those descriptions to be there as part of the book. And for me, I was not someone who was very comfortable with writing such explicit content and portraying, the sexual abuse part of it, which is
Hmm.
why I feel that I went into this cocoon.
Right.
A lot of people suggested that I take away the gory, explicit sexual abuse scenes because it sometimes may come across as erotical descriptions.
Right.
But when I spoke to her about it, she said that without these descriptions, the book would be meaningless, Lakshmi. It will be just like another story. And that is when I felt that yes, it has to come out. I don't want it to be like I'm not writing an erotica here, and it's
Hmm.
not a fiction. It's a non-fiction. It's a true story, and if it is a true story, then it has to bring forth those gray areas which otherwise tends to be missed out on many scenes. And when you read her story, you begin to realize that is it possible for someone to truly experience such things? Or is it just, and because I remember her emotions when she was narrating those incidents to me, the pain, the choking, all of that was evident. It truly showed that, how much she suffered, how much she had been through. And that she shows me, I feel truly blessed and grateful. She's a wonderful soul, Deepika, and I feel that her story needs to be known to the world. The entire world needs to know, and particularly parents and families need to support, the community, people who are different. Like they're not actually different; they are just part of us. We look at them as being different because they don't fit into the normal status quo of the society of what we say the masculine and the feminine. But what is Ardhanarishwar? It says the form of Ardhanarishwar itself says that the masculine energies is part of the feminine and the feminine energies are part of the masculine. We are complete in our own self. Sometimes we may be born as a physical woman, but sometimes when there is a need, we portray the masculine aspects of being brave, being confident, taking challenges head on, being adventurous. All these are masculine traits. And when a woman does it, we say that she's so brave, she's so courageous and confident, right? So it shows the masculine energies or aspects of that female. Similarly, when a father is taking care of his little daughter, sending her to school, putting her to sleep, feeding her sometimes, we see the feminine aspects of that male energy coming out, right? Which
Hmm.
shows that we all have both the energies existing within us. Then why should these people be looked at differently?
So I'm really looking forward to read this now. And also, it would be a huge pleasure if I could interview that beautiful lady on the cover page after knowing
Uh,
her journey, of course.
I would love to bring her on a conversation. Let me have a word with her because she's personally having certain, tough challenges with her personal life right now. She is experiencing some hospitalization of a family member and other things. So she's running about. And after the release of the book, I myself have not been able to get in touch with her to have a proper conversation and say that, Deepika, your book is finally released. When do I send it across and when do I meet it? I haven't got a chance yet. So I don't think she herself has received a copy. She does not even have the time to send her address properly so that I can send her a copy. So I would definitely get in touch with her and I will ask her if she will be available anytime soon. And if that happens, I will connect with you and definitely let you know.
Definitely, that would be lovely. And it was really wonderful talking to you, Dr. Lakshmi. It was really an enlightening session today because I got to know about your journey as a spiritual holistic healer and
Yes,
also your author side. And the
yes.
only thing that my takeaway from this session is that how do you manage the time? You are doing so much.
So yeah, a lot of people do ask me this question. All I say is that every morning when I wake up, I write my gratitude. I have this gratitude journal which I maintain every year. So this year, this gratitude journal was gifted by my mom, and every page has its own entry. Where let me just show you. So this is how I make an entry. I'm not sure if it is visible. I make two parts to
Well,
the line, and below I write down the tasks that I need to do for the day. So here I have mentioned about 24 tasks, which it can be like, the smallest of tasks, like send particular emails to whatever, or, maybe prepare the web PPT for the webinar. Then it is something like uh, play some mental games for some period or whatever, then prepare an ad poster, learn one lesson of numerology, make a vision board on Canva or whatever, that those things. I had prepared a physical vision board before the new year, but my Canva vision board was still pending. So that is the kind of list that what all is possible for today. I keep a note of all of that, and as the tasks get done, because some tasks may take lesser time than the others. So if I have my laptop open, my diary is always around me. So I quickly refer, since my laptop is open, I have prepared the PPT, I have prepared the poster on Canva. Is there anything else on the laptop which is left to be done? So then I say that, okay, there are these emails which needs to be sent. So quickly I send the emails as well. So at a time, all those tasks that are relevant to a particular situation or time span gets done at that time, and then I tick them. Of course, at the end of the day, it may so not be possible that I may have completed all the 22 tasks, but there have been days when I have completed more than what I have listed there also. So, and of course, when I prepare the list in the morning, there are times when I suddenly remember, Arey, this is also something which I had to do. And I keep on adding that also to the list so that I know that it's there, it's done. And that is how I organize my time. And I don't indulge in binge watching Netflix series, movies, going out, partying. No, I don't do that. So probably, I feel that it takes away a lot of your um,
energy.
valuable time, the time that you can otherwise utilize for something more productive. So people are like, what is this movie dialogue? Tell us. And I'm very bad at that. I don't know. I really don't know. But if you ask me for inspiration, I take inspiration from real life, from nature, from the universe, from people whom I converse with, my patrons, my clients, even from my children. They teach me a lot. I'm open to learning. Even the housekeeping person who comes to collect the waste from my house is also someone. They all respect me, they all value me, and every day they like, "Ma'am, kacha nahi hai to bhi aap sirf good morning bolne ke liye please open the door." Like that.
Okay, that's
So,
nice.
so that is the kind of bonding and connection I share with people, and they all love me as much as I love them. Which is why I always say, to after every sentence or everything that I write, any article or whatever I write, I always write love and light Lakshmi. So it is not just an alliteration with the L, but yes, there is abundant, unconditional love which I offer to the world around me, and in that love comes the light. Light is the hope,
Hmm.
the beacon of that little, something which you can possibly see as being a possibility, which is not possible otherwise. So I see myself as a ray of light, uh, and getting that light from the higher divine force. And Lakshmi, of course, I love my name a lot. So it's my grandmother's name. So I respect and value everybody who has been there with this journey. And one last thing is that this month I am offering this book at a Kindle price of 49 only, and
Oh,
it's free on Kindle Unlimited for anybody who has subscribed to the Kindle subscription on a monthly basis. This book is available for a free read, and also if you need a paperback, a signed copy, also this book is available at just 350 rupees, including free shipping across India. So this is a the reason why I'm giving this offer is because I want this story to reach as many lives as possible, and a definite read and a genuine review, an honest review about the insights and inputs of the book is going to take me a long way, and it's going to showcase the story and the struggles of Deepika to the world around, and that's my intention. Thank you.
I'm sure that will happen because you already are a symbol of abundance because you are, spreading so much love. So it will come back to you manyfold. I have all the faith and many congratulations once again. I will also read and review it. So it was
Thank
really lovely talking
you.
to you. Have a great, great day ahead. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
So I was talking to Dr. Lakshmi Ajay. Please pick the latest book from Car to Key, and it's a biography. So you will really love the book. And if you wish, you can connect with Dr. Lakshmi. I will drop her mail ID so you can connect with her and get the book. So bye all, and also please follow my page. Have a great day.